There's a lot more going on than I anticipated, but it's all good news. It's all great news. We're introducing a new viewer, like a subscriber mail feedback segment, and then also this week introducing some movie picks of the week, or kind of what I really voted as really good or outstanding on views this past week. Also an update on jobs and roles and casting, and give everybody an update on those. And then the two big news stories this week is the announcement of the premise of Jinx Films' horror movie slated for Halloween 2025. So stay tuned for that. And then the big one this week is we review Margaret McCabe-Janicki's playwright director debut of her self-crafted After the Audition. So we'll get into that very last, but first let's take it away. And then real quick birthday announcement to Tim, brother Tim. The birthday's on Thursday. There we are. Summer of '94, that was. Yeah, it was right after an intense softball game, I believe. Yeah, for my mom's bank party, so that's where that is. And then thanks to Tim, he gave me the advice to start to chapter sort Jinx Films Weekly. That way you can jump to your section. So thanks to Tim for bringing that to my attention of just timestamp if you'd rather jump to picks of the week, if you'd rather jump to reviews, etc. I'll have that all right out too. So thanks to Tim for doing that. And then thanks to Shannon and Suze, they were my good luck charms. We won the first game of the playoffs last night in Rockville. We're slated to go to the semis next week, so yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. We won 7-5, and it felt good. So thank you for coming out and seeing the playoffs. And that was our viewer mail, our first ever viewer mail segment is going to be with Andy Miller 9286. Andy has left a lot of great comments on Legends of Burkittsville. He's a fan of that movie and is looking forward to In Unison. So thank you to Andy for following. If you'd like to subscribe to the weekly newsletter, you can reach out to me in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Now, movie picks of the week. This is more just like a real quick what I watched this week that I'd never seen before, and what I gave it. These are more of the outstanding ones. So it was with Kate Blanchett and Tar. All hail the Queen. Man, what a performance. Whoa, that was amazing. So I gave it a 9 just on her performance, and on Kate Blanchett, but holy crap, that was great. And the Beau Was Afraid. Ari Aster is one of my favorite working directors today, unquestionably. After this movie, he's the guy that did Hereditary and Midsommar. I have not laughed this hard at new material, at a new movie in probably 15 years. I was doubled over, and it's not for everyone. It has a surprisingly low rating on IMDb, at 6.8. I think it's a very small audience that he can really get that reaction that I did out of it, but it was brilliant. And so I can't. Beau Was Afraid is another pick. Of course, Trey. It's the new South Park, the Paramount Plus special, the Panderverse. Guys are still relevant, man. They're still delivering really great, smart stuff. Now on to kind of some new roles and new jobs kind of thing. To double back a little bit, this is the first time I saw this is when this is the YNS premiere, or one of the first episodes of YNS Special Ops on Paramount Plus, and that's me in the background there. That's all I got. It was so cold that day. A couple of the guys I remember looked like they got some really good close-ups and some good FaceTime, but it was fucking cold. And then also this week, Friday is official shooting day for There Be Ghost, written and directed by John Beckham. I'll play a part of Clint. Clint is an addict on the streets of Baltimore, and he gets lured in to try a new drug, and he's tricked. So I will have the honor of playing Clint, a druggie who gets tricked into snorting a drug. I'm really excited for it because my death will be off screen, but I'm still gonna give it my all. Also excited to share that I was cast in a play. It is going to be it's by Chuck DeLong, and he's a playwright out of Virginia, and his play submitted is called The Existential People, which is an adaptation of Jean-Paul Sartre's No Exit. So I got cast as the roles of valet in Sartre's No Exit, but he changed it into the chaperone, which is going to be kind of a almost like a male dominatrix kind of thing. It's going to be new to me, but it's at the the Capitol Fringe Festival next summer. So it's going to be a new way to really learn about the business. This is my first ever theater part, and so happy to have this and to an exposure at that level too. So the Fringe Festival is anticipated to be kind of one of the bigger years this year. Maybe up to 10,000 tickets sold over the course of the festival. So it's not enormous, it's not huge, but it's catered to a smaller audience. They're very adaptable to kind of like low budget things, and then they can make a lot of little minimalist kind of style things. So I'm excited for it, and the cool thing is it's paid, plus you get a percentage of the box office, and this is something that I wanted to learn about anyway, of just really what the math is and the kind of draw and what I kind of expect. So this was a really cool thing for me. I'm excited to meet everybody and the playwright and the director and just the guys. It's going to be only 4 actors on stage, including myself, and it's really exciting to kind of get into it. And then Dylan also is I had a one-on-one with Dylan a couple weeks ago, and Dylan, what is your trajectory, man? Like, you're such a good actor. Is that the way you want to go in this business? Do you want to just continue acting? And he said, acting is cool, man, but I like stuff behind the camera. So Dylan is now, going back and forth for an editing gig for a real estate company. That's fantastic. Like, he's pursuing it. This editing, writing, directing, behind the camera, logistics stuff, and he's still going at it. So not only got his day-to-day job, he's editing in unison, and he's still pursuing other acting things. That's a great start, and a testament of his dedication. And now we're on to the official premise drop for the new horror movie coming out Halloween 2025. So it's not titled yet. Still working on it. It will be an anagram for sure. It's going to be horror, but it's not going to be slasher horror, blood anyway. I imagine, if you know me, it's probably going to be something pretty trippy or pretty something out there, but scare the shit out of you. That's what I'm going for. So the premise is going to be a little bit long, but stick with me because it's worth it, especially when you know at the end of the movie there'll be a twist, but the premise alone is enough to I feel like it could be a rather engaging tale regardless, throughout this whole little world. It is set in today. It's set in today's times. Earth. You could say cities. You could say it's happening in this realm, this reality, this universe, whatever. Okay, so it's happening now. And see, tomorrow, for example, there starts to be these little, almost like ads. You start to see them pop up. And then those messages start to increase a little bit, and they start to increase a little bit more. You kind of see people talking about it. Somebody has a shirt on, and it's just, wait a minute, like, okay, it's funny. I feel like this is a little hope. We start to see more and more of it. So the message that it's saying is that it's very clear, and the message is translated into other world languages too. If humanity as a species can live for one day without dying, no one dies for one sun rotation. If you could pull that off, you will advance to the next level of your species. That is the key to evolution, is if your whole species can live for one day without dying, then the next part of evolution kicks in. And that's not the premise yet. Well, that's the beginning of it. And so we start to see a little bit more and more of that advertising come in, and then it's just everywhere. And then it's on billboards, and then it's on bus stop signs, and then it starts to get into your curated ads on your phone. It goes on, and it's just unrelenting. And this is the world's greatest hacker team that is just dumping this stuff, or a billionaire or groups, a conglomerate of billionaires just really having some stupid fun. And it's creepy, and it's just like, how did this pull off? And we still keep going. And if you start to see more and more things, it almost seems like you're getting those creepy text messages too, of just no number, but the message is coming in through everyone's phone, and it's starting to get a little scary. And then all of a sudden, that message that we are, like the zeitgeist, or whatever you want to call it, because it's so familiar with, that if you live for one day as a species, then next level advancement. And then we get a number. It's a very, very high number. We assume it's the amount of lives lost in a day, and that's what it turns out to be. And it's just, okay, very funny. And then the messages start to equate with high points of the globe that had the most lives lost on the last rotation. And it's pockets of war, pockets of things, and then there's pockets of areas, wait, what? So it's going to signal places that you've probably never heard of, with catastrophes that you would have never heard of because they never made the news. So that's all in there too, and you kind of see it. And then one day the number goes down significantly, and it's almost as if you can just say, well, this is an awesome network of people having some kind of digital advancement with hospitals that report deaths, and then they clearly just get a worldwide pulse and where the anomalies are, where the wars are, where all the famine is, and that's how they get their numbers. Then it calls out something specific in 3 days. There will be a catastrophic disaster here, kind of thing. And surprisingly, no one listened, and that happened. And it gave almost the exact amount of deaths that would have happened, and then people started to listen to these freak messages of, if you can stay alive as a species, people, for one rotation, you advance to the next level. And then the number started to go down, and that wasn't a coincidence. And the daily number would read, and we would start to see the number go down significantly soon. So the question is kind of, how long would it take for humanity to do one rotation with no one dying of any kind? Suicide, death, like, oh, Johnny got hit by a car, like that would happen, nothing for 24 hours. Is it, do we stop? Do we stop driving? What do we do? And can you imagine the level of paranoia and just chaos inside of all of that structure manipulation of the whole species trying to live? And how long would that take? Well, here's where the movie starts. So the movie has all that as its world building background, okay? And then the movie starts following the character on the day after we successfully do it. Humanity pulls it off, and we live one day without anyone dying. And our horror movie is what happens after that. The guy goes along, and we see, is it the repercussions? Is it a celebration? It's a horror story, is what it is. And I can't wait to get more into it. So I haven't cast it yet, obviously. I haven't started any of that. Just remember, Unison is the priority. And Unison is all but shot on November 19th. All the reshoots will be completed. Dylan and I just hammer out these edits. It's going to be a beautiful film, as we have this new narrator coming along and bridging all these scenes together. And I can't wait for it. But the horror movie coming 2025 is taking that same wild scope of enormity and squeezing it into a micro-budget film. So the world is going to feel treacherous and enormous going into the movie with a fraction of the cost. Think a multi-million-dollar idea for an under $10,000 film. So that's what we're going for this new horror film. Inquire within if you'd like to start putting in for cast and crew jobs. And finally, we review Margaret McCabe-Janicki's playwright-director debut after the audition. So it was at the Sandy Spring Museum in Albany, Maryland. It was packed, it was sold out. It had cool little food trucks there. It was a gallery in itself, so you had the ability to purchase some of the artwork in that venue as well too. It was really cool. See Barbie skimming along. One of these Barbies up there had a nip slip. That was pretty crazy. Yeah, there she is. Nip slip Barbie. All right, on to the review. So after the audition, it was part of the 10-minute play festival. So she was in block, the very first block, and it was 5 plays each. So they have hour blocks with intermissions. Margaret's was on there first. The story is that the actor just finished an audition, and she's accompanied by 2 actors on stage, but they're 2 haunting emotions. One is PTSD, who was carrying a literal panic button. On the other side was anxiety. So they were presented as burdens, and so they walked on the stage, separated, one on each side, both wearing different shades of color to indicate the tone of levels of stress. Anxiety was more gold on the blue side, panic was red on the stop sign side. So she's represented by the 2. If I was to give any criticism of the play, it would have been in the first 2 minutes, I think. It felt a little more wistful. I remember thinking it was more as rumble strips, but I think that was intentional. As you exit the audition, there's a flurry of anxiety and fear and how did it go. And then also the character's also waiting for a phone call back. And so we have that kind of lingering as well too. But the way it was staged was a tough at the beginning, and that paid off because what I felt as a little bit static in the beginning echoed completely and tied it at the end with the main character's final monologue. So as you had the 2 characters going across, Panic was kind of just, there were all these little emotion characters were reminding the main character of the stuff that they had to pull off for her sake in the past. When she was little, remember how anxiety would creep in and PTSD would creep in after that because this happened. And so they're bringing all this back up to the main character and saying, remember this, and now you're going to do this again, and now you're going to keep punishing us. Like, what did we do wrong that we just have to keep showing up? This is not fun for us. And the main character winds up delivering the message to say, no, it's backwards, man. Like, the reason why I channeled my success is because you gave me the gift of panic and because you gave me the gift of anxiety. They're terrible in and of itself. But the person wielding those emotions is what's going to make the difference. So Margaret took an autobiographical approach and said that due to her PTSD, that helped, due to the anxiety that helped. She is one of those things where it was clear that you could go the chemical route and become an alcoholic or an addict to self-medicate because you don't understand your own mental illness situation. But she used that as the buffer to say, well, if I start drinking, that could lead to something else. And so anxiety cured her from that to keep going in that direction. And she did a great job echoing that to come into full circle to say, these started out as villains and pests, but we're all going to embrace in the end because it's a human emotion and it's not fear-based. It's at some level of disorganized straight line building, and that's what she managed to mold into it. So 5 out of 5 for Margaret's directorial debut. I thought it was great. It was not blowing smoke. It was my favorite of all of them that I saw. So I think Suze echoes that sentiment too. So great job, Margaret. Congratulations first and foremost. So you're now a playwright director and for Full House too. So congratulations to you and your actor. And that'll do it for this week. Thank you for watching everything, and I hope you enjoyed the chapter skip section. And we'll see you next time.